What's up everybody, Johnny Witchcraft Whips, how do you do? Mini Bullwhip mini series part 2, and without further ado, let's go. So, what are we up to today? Well, we have our first and only belly on here right now. So right now we have a handle foundation, we have a kip core, and a plaited belly. So next up we're gonna put a bolster on this, and then we're gonna plait the overlay. Like I said in the previous video, this is gonna be a one belly mini bullwhip 4 foot long. So this video is going to feature the bolster and the overlay. And in part 3 we're gonna finish the whip off with the fall, the knots, and a wrist loop. But next up we have the bolster, so let's get on with that. Now, as you may or may not have noticed, I am a bit crowded right here in my workshop, and all I have is basically these two desks and not much storage. Now, a good thing is that I'm planning on building a new shop this coming spring or summer, and that is going to be a building in its own with the purpose of whip making and leather crafting in general. So I'm very much looking forward to that. But right now we have to make do with what we got, so we're gonna press on. And right now we're gonna make the bolster. And the bolster is going to start just before the transition from the handle to the thong in this case. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna take our kip and we're gonna fold it over the whip like so. Take a pencil and mark where we should cut it. And we're gonna do this all the way down to the end of the plaiting. Like so. Now we have our marked line right here to the end of the plaiting. So we're gonna cut along these dots right here, and then we're just gonna taper it out all the way to the end. And it's just about 4 foot long, which is the total length of the whip right here. So we're gonna taper it from here all the way out to this point. And there we are, a bolster. Now, like I said, the end of the handle is right here, and the bolster is going to start slightly up on the handle. And what we're going to do now is we're going to thin this part out right here to make the bump right here less known. Well, this obviously needs a new blade. Quick tip, get yourself a jar and make a hole in the lid and put all your used blades into it like that, because you don't want to throw your blades into your regular trash. So getting a jar to put all your used blades in is a great tip for your own safety. And we're gonna have a look and see if this is a nice fit. And what you want is the ends of your bolster to just meet up around the thong. You don't want to leave a gap like this, because this is going to form a flat spot on your plaiting, and you don't want it to overlap, because that's gonna leave a bulge instead. You know, if there's just, you know, half a mil or something like that, that would probably be okay. But ideally you want it to meet up just perfectly. And that looks quite okay. So right now we're gonna give the bolster some dressing, and then we're gonna tie it on to the thong. There we are, the bolster is tied on just over the transition, and it's fine to begin your plaiting right now, but what I like to do is just to tie the bolster on here to keep it in place while I'm working the overlay. So I'm going to spiral the artificial sinew right now around the bolster and the belly to the end of the plaiting, just to hold it in place. And there we are. Now, as you might see, there is a bit of gaps right here, but these are going to close up fairly well when the overlay compresses it. So it's going to end up meeting just fine. It's time to cut and prep the overlay. And for this whip I'm going to make this a 12 plait. Watching me cut and prep another set of strands like I did in the previous video, that's just wasted time on my part and your part. So through some video magic, we have a set of strands for the overlay. So we're going to get these strands onto the handle. We are going to do your basic checkerboard for the handle part. We are going into the herringbone at the transition, and we're going to cover the transition with a knot. So let's get on with the plaiting. And there we have our overlay done. So that's it for this video. Next up, for the third and last part, we are going to make a fall for this whip. We're also going to roll it, put the knots on, and then add the wrist loop. So I'll see you back for the third and last part of our mini Bullwhip build. Take care.